So imagine you hear the stories in the news how they were locked down for such a long time and everyone was confined to their home and all that. Like, that's a massive thing to do.
It's also a lot of high-rise buildings, a lot of apartments.
I suppose it's the only way to fit that many people in a space like that, isn't it?
Yeah. I was also very surprised at how much jungle land, forest there was when we were flying in. Because I was like, we're looking at the map and we're over China, but it was like all bush.
Yeah, cool.
And I'm thinking, why haven't they consumed up this land? Like 1.3 billion people. Yeah, I didn't like the food.
Yeah.
But my biggest takeaway was this. I think we sometimes forget how fucking good we have it. Dude, like, because you look at it and you look at what they're doing and you're like, this is their, and don't get me wrong, it's not horrible.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a lower quality of life at the bottom. I'm sure there's some people living large.
Yeah.
But what's below middle class?
Lower class.
Lower class, is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like the lower class or, the bottom 10%, 20% are not living great. And then you think about how the bottom 20% live in Melbourne or Australia and, dude, it's so good, man. They use even like the quality of stuff, like the quality of meats and things like that. The stuff we get to eat, the stuff we get to see, the stuff we get to do, buildings and everything. Like here, they don't pollution. Like you hardly, I think I saw the sun once.
Wow.
Yeah, it's 32 degrees every day.
Overcast?
It's polluted. The air's polluted. It's not clear.
Yeah.
It's not pollution. It's just the weather over there.
Is that what it is?
It's always like that.
I don't know. Yeah. It's not.
But you're talking here 1.3 billion people.
It's also
cars,
it's not clear. You can't see
ahead of you.
You can see ahead of you. Like you can't see
to a degree.
Like if you look out into the far distance, like across the city, you can see like mist or fog. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes we really forget how good we have it. And this happens to me all the time. And I go overseas and then I remember, fuck, man, like we are living so good.
Yeah. And it's like you take things for granted, don't you? We all take it for granted. It's like we wake up in the morning, we can walk, we take that for granted. I think it's human nature for us to feel that way in what you're saying.
Yeah, but
we expect it. I expect my car to start in the morning. I expect, the tap to run as soon as I turn it on and for it to be clean, water coming out of there. I expect the bus will arrive on time. All these things that you've got that have become a norm for you. And then when you go out and see the rest of the world and see how they're living and what they're doing and what it's like, it makes you go, shit.
Yeah. And you got to take your hat off to them for staying. And we were actually talking about this before you came in. Because for the amount of people they have, the bottom is not that low.
Yeah.
Like there's other countries that have a lot of people where the bottom is really low.
Look at India.
Yeah.
I've never been, but my brother's been and a few other people have been before in the past that have told me it's like poverty. It's below. So you've got lower class and you've got poverty, and that's where the majority of people are. And the super wealthy are just. It's like it goes poverty, super wealthy. There's nothing in between.
Yeah,
and it can be full on.
This is not that bad.
Yeah,
this is like most people are eating. Most people, you know what I mean? It's okay. But also, like we got invited to cheap food.
Yeah,
cheap food. I think like we went and had dinner one night, and it might have cost us $14.
Yeah,
for both of us.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Like you know what I mean? But yeah, man, I think, we get used to this. Well, like today, what a ripper day outside. And it's like this is normal life.
Yeah.
You forget how good it is. And I wanted to, I guess, talk about that today and actually get you guys to focus on how good we've actually got it here, man. Like, because fuck, you forget. You forget so much. And I forget all the time, dude. Every time I go overseas, it reminds me.
Yeah.
It reminds me and I think, oh, man, like, thank you. Like, that's a sick reminder because I forget. And I get used to living here and then you get shitty about something small.
Yeah.
And then you're like, come on, man. Like,
well, next week I'm flying out to the States and for the last week or so, everyone I've been speaking to, and I don't remember this myself, but everyone I've been speaking to saying, oh, where are you flying to? I said, yeah, we're going to Vegas, but going through LA, like, oh, fuck, LAX, that's the worst. They make you feel like criminals. You got to take your shoes off. You got to do all this. I'm like, yeah, I've been to LA once before, LA airport, and I don't remember it being that bad. It's like people will abuse you, like full on. And you come here and like you would never expect that at any Australian airport for people to be like that and to be that strict and to be yelling at you and abusing you and all this sort of stuff. But apparently LAX is one of the worst airports. And multiple people have told me that over the last 2 weeks or so, even though I don't remember it.
What, like they're rude to you there?
Yeah, like that, but also very pushy. Like you can't fuck around at all because, you know, everything that happened, when was it? Over 10 years ago, 13 years ago with America. But everyone's saying it's 9/11, yeah.
It was
yeah.
22 years ago.
It was far out. Yeah, early.
23 years ago, yeah.
Shit.
Almost. They weren't like that in China, man.
Yeah.
They did do a thorough search, though, when I was boarding the plane. Like coming back.
Coming back to
They
Australia?
thoroughly search you in
Yeah,
China.
why's that? You're leaving the country as if you're taking shit with you.
No, more like a safety. They searched everyone. It wasn't
Yeah.
just me.
Who'd you fly with?
China Southern Airlines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wasn't in or one of the Aussie ones or anything like that. Like
No.
Qantas, Virgin.
It wasn't a bad flight. Alright. But they
How
did a
long?
thorough search. 8 hours?
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah. But they did a super thorough search. Like completely pat you down
Yeah.
to make sure
Touch all the important parts.
they're all the important parts.
Oh, shit,
I was
huh?
like, man, this is like, if I was hiding something here, like you probably would have found it. Yeah, like they're touching you around your ankles,
Yeah.
touching your socks, all the way up your legs.
Yeah.
Every part of you.
Fuck, imagine that job.
Yeah. And
Grabbing
every
everything.
single person, dude.
Yeah.
Straight through, next, straight through, next, straight. Like the girl in front of me was wearing like kind of like flare jeans, and
Yeah.
like they lifted up her jeans and looked around her ankles. I was like, this is thorough. In Australia, they're like, go like this,
Yeah.
and they're like, okay, cool.
Cool. Keep
Yeah,
moving.
you know.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So
Hopefully,
again, taking that for granted, aren't they? Like that whole, the fact that you go 99.99% of people are just getting on this plane and going to where they need to go. Never, ever have we thought we would ever have a terrorist attack, someone putting a plane into the Sydney Harbour Bridge or the Rialto, you know what I mean, touch wood. But again, there's that level of comfort and that expectation that we have here. And we're, again, lucky that we live like that too.
Dude, we've got it good, like ridiculously good. It's a great. I was watching a podcast the other day, and do you like Jimmy Carr?
Yes.
Yeah, he was on the podcast, and he said, we forget that here's the things we take for granted. Hot showers. Yeah, like hot showers. Yes, we forget that 50 years ago it wasn't as accessible. 50 years ago, like not that long ago. In the 70s, it was much harder. It wasn't as common, you know what I mean? Now, if the hot water runs out in 15 minutes, you're upset. Do you know what I mean? Or if the pressure's not great in the shower, you're like, it's good, this is a shit shower. And it's like the things we take for granted, man. We get comfortable, we get used to what is, and we fall into a shitty state.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Completely agree. And what I reckon to get some perspective on that and what people should be doing is practice gratitude to combat that. Because if you can wake up in the morning, you know what? I'm so glad I get to have a warm shower today. I'm so glad that, you know, my kids, my wife, my dog, my goldfish are all happy and healthy. Everything like that. And that's when you can start, you can start it off real simple, like thinking about things like that, then going deeper and going, you know what, I'm really grateful that I get to have an opportunity or that we won this job last week.
Yeah.
I'm really grateful that I'm going through a difficult period in my life. Right, then you start looking at that. And I was speaking to one of an old client of mine, and he's Muslim, and they just finished Ramadan as well. And he was talking to me about it. He was actually at one of my events last week, and we were having a chat. And he goes, "Yeah, sorry, I couldn't come yesterday. Blah blah. I had to leave somewhere because we went out at the back during the event. Had to go to a prayer room and all that sort of stuff." And he was just talking to me a little bit about the religion and everything I was going on about. And he goes, we were talking about on the topic of depression. He goes, you look at a lot of Muslim people, like real true believers, as in following the religion and the faith, because you don't see many of us depressed. Okay, it's really interesting. He goes, because we have such a high belief that God is doing this to us to make us better. It could be a difficult time. It could be a death in the family. It could be, a sickness for myself, whatever it might be. They're following that. They believe that everything is happening to them for a reason and to make them a better person, to test them, to give them the tools, the strength they need to carry on with the rest of their life. And it's such a powerful concept. And if people could use that in their day-to-day life, again, the happiness level, the gratitude that you will experience, everything will be so much better. And it came up the other day for myself when we did that episode a few months back, when you said you lost the plot when your car wouldn't start.
Yeah.
Right, you were so fucking shitty, your car wouldn't start, no one was helping you were waving a 50 at people, they still wouldn't help you, nothing. And you finally got to start and you were over the moon. Had the same thing happen to me 2-3 months later, just a few weeks ago. My car wouldn't start. And it was stuck in gear and a whole range of shit. Had to go through it. That whole time, if that had happened to me before we had that conversation, I reckon it would have been very similar to you. What the fuck? My car's not starting, losing my mind. Do you know what I did instead? I started to laugh.
Yeah, because it was preempted.
It was, but it also helped me even through that moment. Yes, it was annoying. Yes, it cost me money. Yes, it cost me time. Poor George. He has to go and his $150,000 car won't fucking start. Poor George. He has to tow it to Land Rover to get it fixed. Poor George. He has to pay $1,800 to get the car sorted. Poor George doesn't have a car for 3 days. And it's so true. Like, mate, there'd be people in this world that would die to have their $150,000 car not working for 3 days. Do you know what I mean?
Dude, 99% of the world would swap positions. Whoever's listening to this right now, 99% of the world would swap positions with you in a heartbeat.
Wherever you are in your position in your life
Whatever
right now.
You could be having the worst month, the worst year. 99% of the people across the world swap positions with you in a heartbeat just because of where you live.
Yeah. And Andrew Tate said this a little while ago. And he was talking about, I think he was talking along the lines of depression, but he was talking about even just challenges in your life and how you get through it and all that sort of stuff. And he goes, listen, because if you can go into the hospital and speak to a terminally ill cancer patient and make them feel sorry for you about the shit that's going in your life, then maybe you have a right to be upset. Other than that, shut the fuck up.
He's 100% right, dude.
He's 100% right.
100% right.
If you can get up and you're alive, you're healthy, you're happy, and you can do things, you've got some challenges in your life, that's fine, mate.
Yeah,
you get up.
You get to get up.
That's right.
You know what's who else does that as well? Like really good? Gary Vee used to always say, if you're unmotivated, go to an old people, like a person's home.
Yeah.
Go to a retirement home, go to an old person's home and
chat.
Look at someone and see the regret in their eyes.
Yeah.
And see the regret in their eyes. Because they didn't seize the moment. They didn't
ask the girl out.
Yeah.
They didn't fucking start the business.
Yeah.
They didn't back themselves. They didn't quit the job. They didn't go on the holiday. They didn't have the kids.
They didn't do what they wanted. They let fear or doubt.
Wow, that's so good, dude. Like, it's so true. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah,
it's
man.
Fear and doubt. And I see this in so many people. So many people. I've got friends that are so fucking smart, right? And in their own right should be multi-millionaires. Just don't take that next step. Don't take that next step to go to do this, to go out on their own. They've got the golden handcuffs. So, I can't do that. I said, yeah, dude, but, if you did, you could do this. You could do this. You could do this. I'll give it a crack. What's the worst that could happen? And again, it comes down to that. And I think a lot of people, 95% of the population are probably like that.
That fear control them,
Yeah. Like even the guys that take that leap of faith and go, I'm going to start my own business.
Dude.
Even then they become constricted by what they're doing. I had a chat with a couple of people the other day and he was talking to me saying, I've got this, I'm working 15-hour days. He goes, I'm up at 4 and I get home till 6. I do this. I said, I already know what your problem is, mate. I already know what your problem is. You need to employ people. He goes, I can't do that. And I was like, he thinks he has to do everything himself to get ahead because no one else is going to do it right. People are going to do wrong by him. I said, mate, you're just going to burn out.
Yeah.
Your family's going to suffer. You're going to suffer. Probably end up in divorce. And then everything you're trying to work for to achieve for other people, for yourself, it's just going to go down the toilet. Because you're going about it all wrong. You're thinking too small. Thinking too small.
It's funny how everything loops back up.
Yeah.
There's this cool thing. So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click just over here. Or if you want to watch the full episode, you can click over here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and thanks for watching.
Yeah.